Z. And I don't agree with that. That we both believe and know that the law says don't do X, Y, and Z, and that's all we can give you. Now you may don't do X, Y, and Z.
We don't. We don't do that. Because we're governed by Torah law, so we live in the Torah Corral.
You make it sound like there's no Yetzer Hara.
Oh, yeah, no, we have a Yetzer Hara, but we're controlled.
You just make it sound like you have everything under control, you have no Yetzer Hara, nobody who claims to be from has a Yetzer Hara, nobody does X, Y, or Z because it's on the books and we never go X, Y, and Z. And I say, that's not I don't agree with that. That's not an approach I admit to.
We will never commit a white-collar crime.
I don't.
We don't cheat on our taxes.
No, this is how I see it. We both agree and know that the law says no X, Y, or Z. However, each one of us are human beings, and we each have our own weaknesses and inclinations that drive us to want to break X, Y, and Z, and do X, Y, and Z, even though we know that we're not supposed to do it. So to take the attitude and say, we don't do that, whoa. Okay, maybe you're a tzaddik, maybe you're so great, but not everybody is perfect like you are. So how do you know? It's like, am I making sense? Because it's hard for me to explain what I want to say here. You're speaking at because it says don't steal, so none of us steal.
I'm just speaking about you and I.
Because I know a lot of people who claim to be from who steal.
I'm just thinking about you and I. We're like,
you don't know me.
Oh, sure. I've been studying Torah with you for months now.
But see, that's another thing. Even if I didn't steal, which I don't, right? I wouldn't go and say, I don't steal. And here's why.
Why?
Because you're tempting the Yetzer Hara right there on the spot. Sutton hears you say that, really? And I'll tempt you.
Do you believe there's a Satan?
Sutton.
Do you believe there's a Sutton?
Yeah. He's the guy in charge of the Yetzer Hara.
Does he have any independent power outside of God?
No, he works for God. He's no more independent than the the President of the United States has these figureheads underneath him who are like his puppets, like the
King and Queen.
No, what like the Attorney General?
Right.
Yeah, you think the Attorney General makes up? You think whatever his name, Nate Holder?
Right.
You think he makes up his own mind? You think so? You think he has a mind of his own at that job?
No.
No. You think Hillary Clinton even has a mind of her own in her job? No, they're all puppets. They work for him, right? He's the puppet master, right?
So anyway, do we Jews in the Torah Corral need to let the
world... After I just went through this whole thing. The Torah Corral is a state of a figment of your imagination. Please don't put me in it.
You don't want to live in the Torah Corral?
It's not something I can hold by. What you consider, you say that we don't do X, Y, Z, or, not just X, Y, Z, A through Z. We don't do any of these things. I'm going to tell you right now, I do some of the things A through Z.
Look, when God created Jews, he knew that their superior intellect would wreak havoc with the Goyim. So to fence in these Jews from hurting the Goyim, and from hurting the world, he created a Torah, written and oral, to fence them in and to limit their predatory behavior. So anyway, should Torah-observant Jews, do we need to let the world know anything? Do we need to say anything to the world, or can we just build our big boat?
Oh, is that what this is getting towards? Why didn't you just say that? You mean nowadays? Well... I think we do that, don't we?
Oh, do we just need to build our boat, our Torah Corral of Torahness? Or should we be saying anything to the world?
Well, I think, we do tell the world that, about the... if you ask that question 100 years from now, you're going to get... 100 years ago, you would have gotten a different answer. But nowadays, I think that like the Shiva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. B'nai Noach, interesting.
The Noahide laws.
The Noahide laws. I think that they are becoming parsume, they're becoming public. And people are starting to find out about them. And I think that Jews are starting to take they're starting to actually take action and move on the concept of spreading the idea that there's a God in the world. I think they're doing it now more than ever. So, to answer your question, I think that as a people, we're doing that right now, especially with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
We can do things with the internet that 15 years ago we weren't doing. 10 years ago we weren't doing. You know, there's so much information out there on the internet right now about Torah and about Judaism. I think that Jews have done a really good job of spreading that. I think more so in the last 10 years than in the last 2,000 years. You could have asked your question 100 years ago and gotten a whole different answer.
Right.
I think that the major rabbis 100 years ago would have said, hey, you know what? As long as the Goyim aren't killing us and raping our wives, that's enough.
Right.
You know, that's enough. You want to start telling them how to live? You know, like, that's not our business. You know what I'm saying? But today, I think we're doing a good job of spreading it. To answer your question, to say no would mean to turn off the internet. You know, stop posting things on the internet, turn this show off because we're spreading things out. You know, I think it's a good thing to spread the idea of God. I think we're walking in the footsteps of Abraham Avinu, right? It's not because we're in the Torah corral. It's because our ancestors. This is part of being Jewish, is walking around telling everybody.
Oh, when I was telling that story about the party I went to at Simchat Torah, I wanted to use the phrase, there were women there I wanted to have social intercourse with. But I didn't get to use that phrase, but now I...
But you just did.
Now I
so
did.
Way to slip that in.
Yeah.
What's the scoreboard?
So it was 27-14 Patriots.
Oh.
Like exploded for 3 touchdowns in just a few minutes. So
they're playing the fish?
Yeah, yeah. So what did Ham do to Noah?
Ham?
Yeah. He finds Noah drunk, and he does something that humiliates him. Did he castrate him, or... What did he do?
I have to look that up, but I know what he didn't do.
What didn't he do?
He didn't have sex with him, which is what...
Okay, that's a good thing. Like, you can criticize for a lot of things, but at least he didn't have sex with his
Right, because
daughter.
I've seen some terrible translations that try to give that indication. But I think what he did was he uncovered him or something. He didn't cover him up.
Yeah.
His father... It makes Noah sound like a derelict, you know. He fell down, you know, piss drunk without his pants on. I mean, like, how does that rank up there?
I don't like it when people get drunk. I don't like drunkenness.
Oh, really?
And I don't think God does either, and I don't think the Torah does either.
Well, it certainly doesn't like it on Simchas Torah.
Like, bad things happen when people get drunk. Like, so many bad things happen when people get drunk. So...
You gonna give some examples? You gonna go with that?
Yeah, or drunk driving, wife beating.
The guy who killed Aidenhart last year.
Yeah, the guy who killed the Angels relief pitcher.
No, he was a starter.
So many horrible things, but people behave. Like, I had this female friend who I was really close with for a year or two, completely platonic, but it was only when she got drunk that she then started saying, oh, you hit on me, and, you know, like, it totally embarrassed and humiliated me, because I was kind of interested in her, but she'd always made it clear, you know, I just want to be friends, but she never would bring that up while I was sober, you know, while we were just friends, but when she had a few drinks, then she'd bring it up and, like, you know, cut me down and humiliate me, and she'd do it to other guys too. She'd go, oh, you remember when you tried to kiss me, and, like, she'd humiliate people when she was drunk. And a lot of bad behavior comes out when people are drunk. I really hate drunkenness. The only time I'm okay with it is when it's within a religious context, and therefore...
Let me ask you a question. Yeah. Seventh-day Adventists, do they drink?
No.
This is where you got that from. Listen, I've been I read your whole thing about that you're vegetarian.
Oh yeah, I gave a talk on Sunday at Temple Sinai.
I wanted to comment about this. Okay, you give the setup.
Okay, so I was invited by the Jewish Vegetarian Society meetup group here in Los Angeles to give a talk at Sinai Temple on Sunday. So they don't get back to me with the exact time. They just tell me the 3rd. So I look it up on the internet Saturday night and see, oh, okay, it's on